What's up, good people of the internet variety? Welcome back to the Pokemon trading card game your regional championships here at Jönköping, Sweden, here at DreamHack. I'm Nicholas Pedersen. I'm here with...
I'm Lydia Hambach. Welcome to our first top 8 match. I'm super excited. How do you feel, Nick?
Yeah, really excited as well. I mean, this top 8 is, as the terminology goes, stacked. There is a lot of good and well-known players in this top 8, so it's going to be some very, very good matches coming up.
Yeah, we have seen both players yesterday already. We are now looking at Andrew Emerson piloting a Reshiram Charizard GX deck versus the current senior world champion Magnus Pedersen with his Zapdos deck.
Yes, so Zapdos Jirachi against Reshiram Charizard, two of the top tier contenders in the format right now. It's not even by a small margin, and yeah, both players are pretty much almost like ready to go. Looks like they've already set up the prizes out.
For this match, we have something cool for all of you who are already watching this early. We have a small little giveaway sponsored by Card Market Pokemon. You can win a €5 voucher. All you have to do is enter #Andrew or #Magnus in the chat. Whoever you believe is winning, and if you got the winner correct, you will have a chance to win the €5 voucher. Please also make sure to only enter if you are able to get cards to the EU, because Card Market currently only works in Europe.
Yeah, and also when you write that hashtag, make sure you do it all in lowercase letters as well, no capitals, otherwise your entry will not register. So all lowercase, #Andrew or #Magnus. Get your guesses into the comments, and you could enter to win some pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, make sure to do that in the first 5 minutes of game 1, because after that we will close the giveaway.
Yeah. Now, so speaking of game 1, going into the game right now, but Andrew starts off by using a welder to attach a single fire energy to a Marshadow to draw 3 cards. Thankfully, he does see an Ultra Ball off of that, so it was worth doing, but that's not really how you want to start usually.
Not at all, but sometimes you need to get going somehow.
Yes. So now Andrew's deciding what to discard of an Ultra Ball. Looks like he opts to discard a Choice Band and a Fire Energy. Both pretty fine to discard. Fire Energy you can get back easily, and Choice Band, Magnus isn't playing many GX Pokemon, only of course playing that Tapu Koko GX, so Choice Band fine to discard in this matchup.
Yeah, definitely. So he's probably, what is your approach in that matchup? He might get, Reshiram Charizard Tag Team GX?
It's just tricky because we saw the more Volcanion-focused Reshiram Charizard displayed by a couple of people yesterday, and this list is not that. This is a list definitely focusing more on the GX attacking options. We have,
he also plays no Arcanine.
No, so he just has the Reshiram Charizard, the Eevee Snorlax, and the one Volcanion. So really, his game plan is going to be to try and take as many KOs with Reshiram and Charizard as possible before Magnus can eventually KO something with his own stuff. Now, as we discussed yesterday, Andrew needs to essentially take 3 knockouts with his Reshiram Charizard before it gets knocked out to make it work in terms of the prize trade, but we'll see if he is able to do that as this game goes on.
Yeah, but as we already have seen yesterday, those Reshiram Charizard Tag Team GXs, especially against those 1 prize card hitters, they are quite bulky. They need at least 2, if not 3 attacks. So it's still not a bad approach to that matchup.
No, not at all. And also, you think about Zapdos specifically, the amount of Electro Powers you need to even get a 2-hit knockout. If you do, say, 1 Thunderous Assault for 110 by using a 1 Electro Power and then do another one, that's still only 220. So you'd actually need basically 4 Electro Powers to...
Yeah, you need some... he could add some damage with Shrine of Punishment, though.
That's true. And Choice Band as well.
In theory, you could add damage with a Kukui, but as we can see on his deck list, it was initially there, but he decided to cut it.
Yeah. It's cut it for a Volkner instead, which is a completely fair. Volkner is a very, very decent supporter that just lets you grab a Lightning Energy and any item from your deck. Looks like there's some item searching going on right now with Stellar Wish. Magnus has done one, played a switch into another Jirachi and done it again. Finds a Lily off of that. That's pretty good.
Yep, it's still his first turn, right?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, so that's a Lily for up to 8 cards.
Yeah. which we'll see if he plays any more of his hand before he does it. There's one lightning energy, so that'll get attached, of course. There is, of course, the basic psychic energy. This is the kind of the thing that's a bit different about Magnus's list. He's not playing any rainbow energy, just just pure basic energy sort of build, which is why he of course plays that Viridian Forest. But just the 3 fighting, the 5 lightning, the 1 psychic, and the 1 beast energy.
Oh, and we see Shrine of Punishment coming into play.
Yes, we do.
That really helps him a lot, I guess, having it out that early.
Yeah, especially if Andrew is unable to counter it, which I believe from looking at his list, he's playing 1 Heat Factory and 1 Field Blower, but those are his only 2 ways to get rid of that Shrine of Punishment.
They are. And you don't, well, it doesn't really hurt together where, like, to remove that Shrine of Punishment early in the game, because Magnus is only playing it as a one-off.
Yeah.
But also, then Magnus still has the option to play his Viridian Forest, and it will probably stay in game for a long time.
Yes, it will, and that means he'll always have the right energy to attack at any given time, which is obviously important as well.
Yeah,
so
very true.
Magnus unfortunately has no way of getting this Jirachi at the active, so is just forced to pass here. No quick, easy first KO on a Marshadow or anything like that. So now Andrew has kind of won himself a turn here to retreat into this Reshiram and Charizard by just discarding the fire energy off the Marshadow to retreat. He does have a fiery flint as well, which he again discards a fire energy in a choice band. Pretty ideal discarding there.
Indeed.
And he'll be able to get 4 fire energy from that. Or just 3.
Interesting choice.
It might be that he doesn't have enough fire energy left in the rest of his deck, or he just knows that he doesn't want any more than that because he's going to weld the 2.
He might not be able to attach them.
Yeah, because
there's only 1 fire energy in his prize cards, so he's weldering them.
Yeah, so and he actually attaches 1 with the welder. Interestingly enough, now actually this may be kind of clever, because I think the reason why he's doing this is because with the 1 damage counter on the with the Shrine of Punishment on the Reshiram Charizard, Outrage is now currently doing 40 damage, which doubling for weakness on Jirachi means it takes 80.
It's exactly the knockout.
Yeah, it is. So, retreats of the Marshadow into the Reshiram, and does he attach again? Nope, just does Outrage, KO.
So that Shrine of Punishment really helped Andrew here.
Yeah, it did. Of course, he is now going to take another damage counter from Shrine of Punishments, and going back into his turn, it'll be 1 more after that. So Shrine of Punishment definitely putting in some work for Magnus here, so that helps him at least, but did kind of in some sense bite him a little bit with that Outrage being able to do enough damage to KO the Jirachi. Oh, Choice Band comes down.
Yeah, and we see the first Stellar Wish of the turn.
Really wants to dig for a skateboard, and he gets it.
There it is. Yeah. Jirachi finally skating.
So Magnus is going to be very happy about that. Now he will be able to retreat that Jirachi and start putting some damage into this Reshiram Charizard. Of course, it's tricky again because he can do 80 right now, but then Outrage again can actually just take KOs on Zapdoses. So it's... And then at that point, Andrew can just start powering up something else. So
yeah, I think that was a really clever play from Andrew. Even though his board doesn't really look that elaborated, he actually has anything he needs. And also Magnus can't really maybe Guzma up something on his bench that would get stuck into the active position, because Marshadow only has a retreat cost of 1, and for this fire decks it's quite easy to attach an extra energy. Yeah,
it is. I mean, unless Magnus could play the Guzma just to KO the Marshadow and take a prize, that's another option he could do as well. But nope, just going with the Thunderous Assault, doing 110 with the Choice Band, an extra 10 goes on from the Shrine of Punishment, putting the Reshiram and Charizard GX up to 140 damage. Now Andrew has to decide how he wants to progress from here. He has a Guzma of his own, which he could play, but at this point, I imagine he'd rather just start carrying Zapdoses. He really wants to just get another attacker set up on his board. But But does he even have a way to do that?
I mean, he has a Tapu Lele, so he could search for a support to at least draw support.
Looks like that's what he's going to do.
He might be going for a Cynthia now.
He's not playing any.
Oh, he's not?
No. He is playing Acerola, though, as like a one of the tech card. That's kind of one of the techs that he ended up deciding to play in the list. So he could dig for that, potentially. He can't dig for Kukui, because that's another sort of draw card he has, I guess, because that is in his prizes. But oh no, he plays 2, so he actually could dig for 1. But no, he does just go for that Acerola.
Oh wow. So that means he probably sacrifices the Marshadow.
Yeah, probably, and he's completely okay with doing that. You know, the Marshadow going down really doesn't hurt him in the slightest. In fact, if anything, it helps him because it makes it easier for him to play into, you know, that sort of 7 prize game.
Yep.
Triumph Punishment comes in twice again.
So that's the pass from Andrew, and we see Magnus starting his turn.
Yes. Oh, he's got the Guzman ready in hand. That's unfortunate. So kind of really undoes that Acerola. It bought him a turn, but that's that Reshiram Charizard is just going to get damaged by the Zapdos again.
Yeah, and Andrew does really need to get something going on his board state next round, but let's see what Magnus is doing. He has to switch.
He's probably getting that for later because, of course, that that Jirachi has an escape board on it already, so it can retreat into the Zapdos to do the attack, unless he's thinking he'd rather retreat into the other Jirachi, do another Stellar Wish, and then switch that one. So
Yeah, that really depends on what he currently has on his hand and what he might want to.
Yeah.
But it looks like he's fine with what he currently has.
Yeah.
There's nothing he's really looking for in particular, so he decides to go for the Thunderous Assault.
Yeah, and this is very sensible, right? Because it means that he has that switch ready to go in case he doesn't have a Guzman next turn, for example. He can just switch into the Jirachi, get another Stellar Wish, and do the extra damage from Thunderous Assault again.
Yeah, that's very reasonable. And it's Andrew's turn, and Andrew really needs another Reshiram Charizard Tag Team GX. We see a Kukui.
Yeah, or that, or even just like any other kind of other attacker would be.
We see a Jirachi, so he could Stellar Wish and hope to draw into some kind of Ultra Ball Pokemon communication, things like that.
He's, I don't believe he's playing Pokemon Communication. He's playing 4 Nest Ball and 3 Ultra Ball though, so yeah, that could be an option, especially because he did have the Escape Rope in hand, so he could have done that, but he was deciding that he'd rather just guarantee the KO on the Zapdos. And
I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah, and this also means that, although it's obviously very likely that this Reshiram Charizard goes down this turn, all Magnus needs, I believe, is a Choice Band or an Electro Power to get the job done. It still means that Andrew can next turn just promote the Jirachi, do Stellar Wish, and start setting up a follow-up attacker. Yeah,
Magnus hasn't drawn any prizes yet, so even though he would KO that Reshiram Charizard Tag Team GX, Andrew could KO another Pokemon from Magnus, and they would be even up in prices.
Yeah, and then at that point, Magnus would have to take a prize every single turn, or, you know, take a GX knockout over 2 turns to stay ahead.
Yep, definitely. Oh, we see Buzzwole. It's Sledgehammer time.
It is. Big bad Buzzwole coming in, doing able to do 120 that damage. So actually, would that be? Because that means it will be enough even without any damage modifiers. Because 120 adds to 140 for 260, and then the extra 10 from the Shrine of Punishment makes it an exact knockout.
Oh yeah. Sometimes the math just goes your way.
Yeah, exactly. The math here does work out perfectly, and now that means that Magnus can even just, like he's deciding to do here, just play Lily, draw a few more, make sure that he has some extra options for next turn. But in terms of what he needs this turn, he's got everything he needs already. So, yeah, there it is. Up comes the Buzzwole. Sledgehammer does 120, plus a 10 from the Shrine of Punishments. That is an exact knockout. Yes, Andrew, sorry. the Reshiram needs to go to the discard pile.
And also this Buzzwole is a bit harder to knock out for Andrew than the Zapdos would be.
Yes, absolutely, because of course it does have 130 HP, which is a lot. In fact, Andrew kind of needs to find himself Welder, 2 Fire Energies, and a Skateboard, and another Fire Energy here.
That's a lot. I think he has a Skateboard in hand, but I'm not quite sure. I mean, he has the Escape Rope in hand, so he could force Magnus to promote something else.
That would work too, and he might. Yeah, he goes for the Heat Factory here, which is very sensible. That Shrine of Punishment has been putting too much work in. It's about, he needs it to go away, pretty much. Now, that to me tells me that he must already have the Welder in hand, because... Oh, he's got Tapu Lele, so that works too.
So we see Tapu Lele for Welder.
Yeah, so this is going to be a pretty decent turn for Andrew, actually, because he's going to be able to Welder 2 onto, like, well... he has a Reshiram Charizard in his hand. I don't know if he wants to go for that or if he wants to go for another attacker. But either way, even if he has nothing else, he has an attacker to use.
I don't actually think that he has another attacker. He has the Volcanion, but that's not really doing the job here.
No, it's not. But it would.
Oh, we see Welder.
Oh, no! Oh, Andrew. Oh dear, oh dear.
Oh, he forgot to bench the Reshiram Charizard before playing Welder. That's so sad.
Lydia, we've all been there. We've all had the play.
We've all been there, yes.
Just had the play mapped out in our minds and just forgot to actually do the right thing, even though we thought about it before. Oh, that is very, very sad for Andrew.
That is unfortunate. That is so unfortunate. But those players, and it's Andrew's first regionals top 8. He is a bit nervous. Things like that happen.
Yeah,
it's extremely unfortunate.
I'm
but I actually think that this misplay might not even be punished that hard.
What makes you say that? Because kind of it means that him doing that means he's not taking a KO this turn, and that means that Buzzwole has another turn to do 120 damage with Sledgehammer, so it's actually pretty brutal.
Yeah, actually, you're right. I mean, this Sabrolele has no damage on it yet.
No.
So if he attacks with Energy Drive...
He only does 60.
It does 60. It's not affected by weakness and resistance.
Yeah.
But it gets another 120. That's not enough to KO Tapu Lele.
Yeah, that's true. But I think Andrew recognizing that he just needs to report something else brings up that Mars Shadow. But yeah, that is really, really unfortunate. If Andrew had taken the KO there with the Reshiram Charizard, he actually would have been in a fairly good position, because I don't think... Because then the Buzzwole, even if Magnus gets like another one, which he does play 2, but that means even if he gets another one, he's not doing Sledgehammer again, and he need to find a way of doing more damage with Zapdos.
Yeah, and we see the Heat Factory being removed, being put into the Lost Zone. Viridian Forest is in play now. Magnus using that Viridian Forest to find himself a Lightning Energy. What would you think he's attaching that to? I think he has another Zapdos in hand. He might also want to attach it to the bench Jirachi just in case, to be able to retreat it.
It'll be either that or he just wants to get it out of the deck. But it does look like he puts it down on the Jirachi.
Yep.
And yeah, Buzzwole was free to just again do Sledgehammer for 120, KO on the Mars Shadow. And I think the deficit might be a little bit too much for Andrew to come back from now. He needs to take 4 prizes before Magnus can take 2. And that Tapu Lele is sitting very easily on the bench with, I believe, 4 damage already on it. So it's not going to be very hard for Magnus to find the damage modifiers to KO over Zapdos. He just needs, two damage modifiers and a Guzma. So Choice Band plus Electro Power will do it.
Yeah, and I think we haven't seen a single Electric Power so far.
I think you're right, actually. Yeah. Oh, well,
so there should be plenty in his deck. His odds are pretty good.
Yeah, and especially because there's actually no Electric Power in his prizes either.
No.
Wow. Okay. So yeah, Andrew needs to do at least something on this turn. But actually, the fact that he welded onto the Tapu Lele is even worse, because it means that he doesn't have actually a follow-up welder to attach to the Reshiram Charizard, which means that he can only do 30 damage with the Outrage, because he doesn't have enough energy to do either the main Flare Strike or the GX attack.
We see Nest Ball being played for another Jirachi.
Yeah, he just has to dig for welder.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Mhm. Oh, actually, he does have a Pokegear in the hand, so he could use that to try and get it in. Because then if he gets it off this, he can just obviously retreat into the Reshiram Charizard instead. But no, actually does just go for the Jirachi.
Nah, he finds a Guzma? Is
no.
it, or maybe an Acerola?
I think that's Kukui, actually. Oh, no, it's Guzma.
It's Guzma.
Okay. Interesting. So what's he go for here? Oh, okay.
Oh, Jirachi.
Yeah, that
makes sense.
Yep, so That still works. It means that, yeah, you can just attach an extra energy to the
And
top
now
of it.
actually the attached energy hurts Magnus a lot because that makes exactly enough for the KO.
Yes. Yes, it does. So, but anyway, now, again, Magnus doesn't need much. He just needs two damage modifiers and a Guzma to seal up the game. There's one electric power in his hand already. He's had 2 electric powers in his hand already. So
And we see a Lily
Yeah.
being picked. So Magnus could bend the other Buzzwole. It doesn't really hurt
No.
him.
all Magnus actually needs to win here is a Guzma. He did miss it, fortunately, for Andrew, but yeah. Oh, there's an escape rope.
He's considering playing it.
No, just
He's
discards off Viridian Forest. There are no Guzma in Magnus's prizes, but I can't remember exactly how many he's played.
no, me neither. Me neither.
Yeah.
But he's playing 4 copies of them, of course. In
Mhm.
this Zapdos decks, you usually play 4 copies. So, and he really uses that Viridian Forest every turn, making sure to thin out his deck.
Yeah. Oh, Magnus
So-
attaches lightning to the Buzzwole. Might be thinking about going for a swing around later on.
He's playing the Lily.
Yep.
4 new cards.
And
He does not look too happy.
right, I think he still hasn't drawn a Guzma. Because, I mean, Magnus has a lot of turns to draw this Guzma. Andrew needs to be able to take 3 knockouts before Magnus finds one. So, again, no matter which way you look at it, the odds are definitely in Magnus's favour right now, especially look, he's playing another Nest Ball, so he can dig through the deck even further. I guess this is the problem, actually. Magnus's deck is a lot thicker than we realise. He's managed to get very far in this game by not playing much of his deck, so...
Yeah, he started pretty well. He had everything he needed without really digging to it. We didn't see him using every Stellar Wish he had, like he would have potentially been able to use. He sometimes decided to not use his second Jirachi
Yeah.
because he had everything he needed. So yeah, his deck is still quite clunky.
Yeah. And again, it makes sense because at the time you want to preserve the switch to make sure you can guarantee another extra damage Thunderous Assault, but it does mean that, yeah, sometimes you end up in this sort of situation instead. Yeah, just does the Thunderous Assault for 80. Now, Andrew has a Guzma of his own. And he can't attack with this Tapu Lele, obviously, so he really wants to... with the Fire Crystal in his hand, he has enough energy in discard pile to get that back and then welder it on, but he just needs to find a welder with his Pokegear, and unfortunately there's no energy left in the deck, so this is going to be a big Pokegear for Andrew. If he misses this, then the game is almost certainly over, but let's see if he can find it. So there, Pokegear. Can he find the welder? It's the first card! Oh, what a good hit for Andrew.
Sometimes you gotta have luck.
Yep. So there it is. I mean, again, the worst bit is...
He looks so relieved.
Yeah. Again, the worst bit is, even with this, I mean, he's still in, his chances of winning this game still actually aren't that great, because Magnus does not need to find much to seal this.
Yep.
But
And I think what we're probably going to see next is the welder.
yeah. And it's okay, the Reshiram Charizard is on the bench this time, so that's this. He's not gonna... He's not gonna have any... He's not gonna have issues with this, but it's all good. There is...
So, yeah. He also has like switch in hand, switching in Jirachi.
It's interesting he's going for this now. Maybe he's thinking that he wants to try and dig for more cards just to make sure he has a good follow-up.
I mean, he has the chance of picking Fiery Crystal.
Field Blower.
Yeah.
That's very sensible. That means that now he can not only get rid of the Viridian Forest to guarantee that Magnus misses the energy, or rather to guarantee so that Magnus doesn't have the guaranteed energy, but also gets rid of the skateboard on Jirachi, so
which is even bigger.
Yes, because that means that now it makes it a lot harder decision whether Magnus wants to actually bring up the Jirachi for the switching or not.
I mean, he could still switch into the Buzzwole, retreat Buzzwole. How many retreat costs does Buzzwole have?
Yes.
I mean, he's a bug. He has wings. He should not have a lot of retreat costs in theory.
In theory, but he does have 2 actually. I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
But he has 2 energies attached to it.
Yeah. So, Magnus drew the fighting energy for turn. That's so big. So now he needs to find a Guzma, which he does. Does he have... Are we going to be relying on flips here? I think Magnus might be going for the swing around.
Oh, wow.
Oh, no, he has choice band.
Okay.
There you go, so it doesn't matter.
So that's game.
Yeah, because that means swing around can do 110 guaranteed, and that will be enough even if he flips double tails. So, yeah, Magnus does win game 1. Very unfortunate game for Andrew there.
Indeed it was.
Yeah, just the forgetting to bench the Reshiram and Charizard GX before playing that well there. And sometimes that's all it can take, just like one small little oversight like that. And it's pretty unfortunate.
And I hope you guys have participated in our giveaway. Obviously, we are already more than 5 minutes into the game, but let's have a quick look at the accomplishments of our players. Currently on Limitless TCG, we only track Masters results.
Yeah.
That's why, for those of you who don't know Magnus, it might look like Magnus is not that much of an accomplished player. He just recently made 9th place at the Bristol Regional Championships, but of course, Nick, tell us a bit more about Magnus.
Well, he is the current senior world champion. So he literally, so not only is he a current defending world champion from another division, but it also means that he's aged up into Masters. Maybe taking a few months to get used to things, but it now has already done like back to back, top 16 and now at least top 8.
Yeah, and also 9th place. That's super close to top 8. I wonder if he actually bubbled.
Yeah, well,
it might very well be.
Well, if he did, I can share some sympathies with him.
Yeah, let's maybe have a look at Andrew's results.
Yeah, so this is what I was wondering about with Andrew, because you said, this is the first time he's in a regionals top 8, and I'm fairly sure that wasn't the case, and it looks like I was right, because he did indeed get the 5th place at the Liverpool regionals.
Oh, in 2016.
Like one of
no, is it the 16th November or 5th November? No.
No, that's the year.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so that's actually one of the first regionals that Europe had under like the new price structure.
True.
So yeah, it's been a while, but Andrew has definitely been in this position before.
Yeah, so let's get into the game. It looks like Andrew has a slightly better start, but still Tapu Lele is not the Pokemon you want to start with.
Yeah, no, also you say slightly better start, but that Pokegear hit nothing.
Oh.
Oh dear.
Poor Andrew.
Yeah. Does he have anything else? He has a Kukui. Oh, he has an S-Ball as well, so... Yeah, maybe he should have played an S-Ball before playing the Pokegear?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, that would have been the right sequencing because you get a Pokemon out of your deck, so your odds are better. But, well, I would say in the first turn, it does not really matter because your deck is still very full. But, of course... the optimal play would have been to play the Pokemon Nest-Ball first.
What I'm thinking is the reason why he did it in that order is so that he could make a better decision as to what to get off the Nest-Ball.
Yeah, that could be true.
Because if he gets a Kiawe off of the Pokegear, then he just goes to Reshiram Charizard and grabs and does that straight away. So I'm sure that's what was going through his mind when he did that.
True.
And this Jirachi finds another Nest-Ball, so that's actually really good because that means he can just get an attacker going, and it makes it an okay-ish start. Not amazing by any stretch of the imagination, but it's workable enough, I think.
Yeah, I think that's definitely something you can work with. He finds another Nest-Ball, going for a second Jirachi, definitely valuing that Stellar Wish a lot.
Yes, I think
he knows that Jirachi can easily get KO'd by Magnus, so he wants to make sure that he for sure has a new Stellar Wish available for him next turn.
Yeah, he wants to try and get off as many Stellar Wishes as possible to sort of get him out of this state where he's currently not able to play much to actually start his chain of welders and all that going, and not able to set up much in the way of attacking.
Oof. We see Magnus discarding 2 Ultra Balls with his Ultra Ball. I think all of them are international promos, if I'm right.
They are, except I think one of those cards actually is a Choice Band, not an Ultra Ball.
Oh, they have a very similar background.
Yes, they do. And they have the same stamp in the bottom right-hand corner as well.
True.
So I can't see it properly because Magnus is covering right now, but I'm sure we'll find out in a bit. He is just doing his...
that's a Choice Band.
Yeah.
You're right.
So... Magnus starts off by grabbing a Jirachi with said Ultra Ball. He's going to, much like Andrew, he's going to want to spend like the first turn or two trying to do as many Stellar Wishes as he can to get all the items he needs to set up his board.
And we're not finding out if it really was a choice pin, but
Yeah.
that's fine.
But we're fairly sure it was. So, interestingly, Magnus played that skateboard, and Andrew opted to bring up the Tapu Lele GX instead of the Jirachi, maybe thinking that, thinking to himself, I can at least play the Guzma next turn to switch into the Jirachi.
I mean, he might have the Guzma in hand already.
Yeah. But, so he's probably thinking that because he doesn't want because he's thinking, at worst I can play the Guzma, switch back into my Jirachi, and then by promoting this Tapu Lele into the active, I don't have to worry about a Zapdos coming in and carrying one of my Jirachis.
I mean, Zapdos cannot KO that Tapu Lele, and
not without you need a choice band and 2 Electro Powers.
And we see Magnus attaching an energy to his Buzzwole. This is definitely not something you want to do that early in the game, but again, it could be worse.
Yeah, I guess it's far from ideal, no matter which way you look at it. But Andrew drew a Volcanion for his turn.
That's actually not too bad.
No.
But even though, I mean, interesting.
Yeah, so
we see Stellar Wish.
Yeah, so it's kind of like you were saying before. He knew that at the very least he had the Guzma to bring the Jirachi back up.
We see Heat Factory.
Oh, that's good.
Looks like he's eyeing that up. Still deciding, and he goes for the Welder instead.
Yeah. Well, Welder's good because he has Fiery Flint in hand, so he can just play that now, and then next turn he has all the fire energies that he needs to attach onto the Volcanion and start putting on some good damage.
And that also means that we might see how much damage does Volcanion deal?
So it deals 50 damage, and then if there's 4 fire energies at least on your side of the field, it does an extra 60. So it does 100. It caps out at 110.
Okay.
It's a shame that Andrew had to discard that Kukui with the Fiery Flint, otherwise he could actually use the Volcanion to take a KO on the Buzzwole.
Well, he can't read the Jirachi anyway, so it's kind of stuck.
Okay. yeah, I guess it doesn't matter too much then.
And we see a switch on Magnus' side, and another Stellar Wish.
There's Cynthia.
Ah.
So
draw support.
Magnus got to be happy about that, not having much to work with in that hand before, so finding the Cynthia off there gives him a fresh 6 new cards, maybe gives him something a little bit better to work with. If he can just find a switch and a Zapdos and a Lightning Energy here, he's completely fine with that. Just take an early KO on a Jirachi, start taking the lead on the prizes.
Yeah, Magnus really needs to find some attacker that he actually wants to use, which basically means he needs to find Zapdos.
Yeah, he's got 2 out of 3 actually. He's got the Nest Ball and he's got
he's got a Zapdos, I think.
Yeah, he does.
That's a Zapdos.
He has a Zapdos, he has a Nest Ball, he has a Switch, he just doesn't have a Lightning Energy.
He could switch into Jirachi and try to find a Viridian Forest.
Yeah, that might be the best way to go for it, but then you can't really switch out the new Jirachi, so he only drew 1 switch, so he might be better off just waiting at this point.
Might be going for a second Zapdos.
Yeah, possibly.
To have something to work with.
Yeah. He doesn't have any Lightning Energy in his discard pile either, does he? Because otherwise Tapu Koko would be an option, but...
No, I don't think so.
No.
This fighting energy on the Buzzwole is the only energy Magnus has seen so far in this game.
Oh dear. So, yeah, like you suggested, just go for another Zapdos off of this Nest Ball. And so it might be another turn of not attacking from Magnus, which is really unfortunate. One of the biggest strengths of this Zapdos deck is normally how quickly he can get going at attacking, start taking prizes.
It's really sad, and we might see, there's the second fighting energy getting attached to Buzzwole.
Oh, actually, Magnus does have 2 switches, so he could, if he wanted to, try and go for this play where he switches.
But that's a very high price he would need to pay.
Yeah.
He's going for it.
He's going for it. If he finds it here, doesn't even find it. Just the Volkner. That he would have liked to see that this turn.
Yes. Oh, yes. But at least this ensures him an energy next turn.
Yeah, it does.
An energy and even some kind of draw support if he wants to. Or an escape board.
Yeah, a whole number of options there that work for him. Now, he's trying to play the Volkner, but no, can't do that this turn, obviously.
Yeah, he was quick enough to realize that he already has played his supporter card off the turn, so I think all that's left to him is to pass.
Yep. Unless he wants to switch again and just attack with the Buzzwole. He's thinking about it? Yeah.
Yes.
Interesting, okay. Just does 30.
He's going for Sledgehammer. Wow. So now it's up to Andrew again. What's he going to do? Is he going to approach the obviously not that optimal position his opponent is in?
So, looks like he's going to start by going for the Stellar Wish. Finds
He finds 2 Guzmas.
a choice band, and I believe that the fourth card was an Ultra Ball.
He might be going for the Ultra Ball.
Yeah, that way he can get himself a Reshiram Charizard, start powering that up. Yeah, he does.
Yeah, that makes sense. So he can start powering that up with the Volcanion.
Yep, and sensibly opting to discard the Kiawe, a bit too late to play that now.
Definitely is. And there we see Reshiram Charizard Tag Team GX.
Yeah, and he's got a Fire Engine discard too, which means that if he finds a Fire Crystal later on, he can get back the maximum value of 3 from it, so that's pretty good as well. And yeah, the rest of his hand is just a Welder and 2 Fire Energy, so he's going to play out the rest of this. Welder the 2 Fire Energy on, draw 3, and... Oh.
Yeah, I think that's his turn. He can still attach an energy from his hand.
He can... Oh, he finds Absol. Oh, that's big.
That's actually really big.
Yeah, that's going to make it a lot harder for Magnus to be able to have versatility with what he retreats, and makes his escape boards a lot less good.
That also means that... well, Sledgehammer is not quite enough to KO this Jirachi.
No.
Volkner.
Yeah, I don't think Magnus actually plays anyways to make that enough, other than the Beast energy, but obviously you can't search for that very easily.
He also does not play Kukui anymore.
No.
Obviously he's also playing Volkner now, so that is not an option any longer. Of course, Electro Power only adds damage to Electro Pokemon's attacks, so it's also not an option.
If Electro Power could boost the Buzzwole, I don't even want to think about how horrifying that would be.
That's very true. Yeah. That's so true. Yeah, he might decide to actually go for the swing around. Oh no, what we're going to see is the first Zapdos attacking.
Yep, Volkner.
I think.
Yeah, Volkner does find Escape Rope plus Lightning Energy, so the Escape Rope means that he'll be able to switch into Zapdos and do the extra damage of Thunderous Assault. But what will be interesting is to see what Andrew actually brings up. Oh! Maybe not. Okay.
He is deciding to go for the swing around, and we see the first KO of this game.
Took long enough. But yeah, I mean, that works too, obviously. It's means that you can actually save the Zapdoses for the follow-up attacks. I mean, if you've got 2 energy on the Buzzwole already, I guess you may as well. Quite clever they opted to attach the Lightning instead of the Fighting as well, which means that if he wants to do a Sledgehammer with his second Buzzwole, he still has 1 Fighting left.
Yeah. And I actually like that play because, as we already mentioned during Game 1, it's a bit harder to KO Buzzwole than to KO Zapdos.
Yes, it is. So this means that Andrew will essentially be forced to attack with Reshiram Charizard or play a Kukui instead of just attacking with the Volcanion and getting a guaranteed knockout.
And we see a skateboard from the Stellar Wish. This is actually a huge find from Andrew, because that means that he can finally get that Jirachi out of the active position and start attacking. Yeah,
it does. Also, he has Tapu Lele for the Kukui.
Oh, wow. This is, again, another huge find for him.
Yeah, it is. So this means that actually he's got the KO with the Volcanion guaranteed, because we know the other card in his hand is a skateboard. So yeah, Volcanion Kukui draws 2. And so...
Actually, did he find the Tapu Lele from his hand? Was it in his hand?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that will do exactly 130, which is enough to knock out the Buzzwole. It puts them both back even on prizes. And now it's back to Magnus to decide how to approach this. Just goes for the Stellar Wish at first. Finds a switch, I believe. Yeah, well, he already has a switch in hand, actually. But no energy, it looks like. Although he does have the Viridian Forest in his hand, so that won't be an issue.
Yeah, Magnus is really missing out on important draws in this game.
Yeah, it does seem that way. Oh, actually, no. So this is an interesting debate that he's probably having in his mind, because there's a Guzma as an option to pick there, which he does actually go for. The Viridian Forest means that he can definitely guarantee himself a prize this turn, he might be just be thinking what's best to discard with the Viridian Forest, and it might just be that Jirachi that's sitting in his hand. Yeah. So that's completely fine for him. So now he has got the lightning energy, he's got the Guzma, he can take a prize off something. He just needs to make sure that what he takes the prize off is the best thing to do, because of course, like we've just said, that Absol is now down for Andrew, meaning that all of Magnus's Pokemon currently on the field pay 1 more to retreat.
Yep.
So Escape Board is nowhere near as good on Jirachi as it might have been otherwise. So finding this Guzma was actually very important, and yeah, Guzma gets played, brings up the Jirachi on Andrew's bench, Magnus brings up the Zapdos, Thunderous Assault does 80, that will be the knockout, and Magnus, for now, is still in control in terms of the prize lead, but he could fall away very, very quickly.
And there comes the Volcanion. It's already powered up. Of course, it does not have the 2 additional energies, but for this fire decks, it's quite easy to attach energies. We've seen that before.
Yeah, of course. So Andrew, with a very simple turn there, just benches the. No, sorry, didn't mention anything. He just attached the fire energy to the Tapu Lele GX and just announces High Heat Blast for the knockout. Now, here's a very interesting turn of events for Magnus. There's now 6 energy on the field. If Magnus is somehow able to pull off Tapu Koko Prism Star and attach an energy, and then use Tapu Koko GX, and also find a Guzma, he can actually KO the Reshiram Charizard in 1 hit with Tapu Koko's GX attack.
Oh wow, yeah, that's huge.
So I'm sure he'd like to go for that. Whether he'll be able to currently is another matter, but he's got the Nest Ball.
We see the Nest Ball. That's the first part of the puzzle, Nick.
Yes, it is.
Oh, and he decides to go for Sledgehammer.
Okay. He can just go for Tapu Koko GX later. If he doesn't feel like he'll be able to hit it, then obviously going for this makes more sense because...
Yeah, those Tapu Koko, they can come out of nothing.
Yes, so... But for this turn, considering this is the Sledgehammer turn, essentially, so you may as well make use of it while you can, especially because even KOing this Volcanion puts Andrew on 4 energy left, which means that Tapu Koko plus some damage modifiers with the GX attack can still easily get a KO on the Reshiram Charizard and win the game.
Yep.
Magnus is being very clever about this.
And now all that Magnus needs is a switching up turn. It looks like he has a Guzma in hand.
He does. So I think...
He might actually be going for that Absol.
I think you've got to be going for that. Not only does that not only does that mean that you take the prize, but it also means that all your follow-up plays are just instantly better because you're much more versatile with your Jirachis. And look at that, a Marshadow to boot as well.
Oof. Yeah, that's a huge swing around turn for Magnus.
Was that a pun as well? Swing around, Buzzwole.
That's up to you, Nick. I didn't plan on that, for sure.
I have my suspicions. But actually, no, seriously though, this is actually something else. This plays into what we were just talking about as well. There's a third advantage to him doing this as well, that he doesn't. It means that if he wants to go for that play with the Tapu Koko GX, he doesn't even need to find any damage modifiers because there's still 6 energy on Andrew's side of the field.
Yes.
So this is very, very good for Magnus right now.
Yeah, I think that's the most optimal play he could have wished for.
Yeah, without a doubt. So up comes the Reshiram Charizard now, and of course Andrew doesn't really have anything better to attack with, so it makes sense for him to go for this. And yeah, at this point attaching the extra energy doesn't matter, so you may as well do it. Flash Strike can now happen. Choice Band gets attached, not that it matters, it's just to clear the deck. And Andrew just goes to the Let Loose. He knows that he needs to make Magnus as unlikely as possible to hit this Tapu Koko GX.
Yeah, but I think, again, Magnus hasn't really used a lot of his resources.
Yeah. No, he hasn't used a lot of his resources, and not only that, but Magnus has so many turns to do this in. He only needs to take 3 more prizes to win, so he can just let Andrew KO 3 things and then still just win with Tapu Koko.
Yeah, very true. And we see Magnus actually drawing into an escape board, which is a great find for Magnus.
Yeah, that is perfect. That means that he'll have 2 Jirachis really to work with.
So the Buzz will get KO'd. He can promote 1 Jirachi, use Stellar Wish, attach the escape board, and see what route he's going from there on.
Yes, so there is now Heat Factory going down. He actually just plays it, discarding fire, draws 3 cards.
He finds an Ultra Ball, Acrobike. We see Acrobike being played. He finds a Welder.
Yeah, he does.
But he doesn't really need the Welder at the moment. He can't even use it.
No, definitely not.
He can use it, Is it mandatory to attach at least one energy?
It's at least one, yes. You don't have to attach two, but if you do need to attach one to actually play it. Yeah, there goes the. Not using the GX tech, just going for the Flare Strike. So up comes the Jirachi now. Card drawn from Magnus. Oh, another escape board, even better.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. There's one lightning attached. There's an Iligo escape board.
There's another escape board.
Oh, Lily for 6.
Oh, wow, that's a huge Lily. And it looks like Magnus is taking over the lead in this matchup.
It does. I think all Magnus needs to find is an Ultra Ball to win this game.
We see a nest ball.
Yeah, so that's still actually, no, he does need that as well. That's important. That means he can find a Tapu Koko Prism Star to get the energy on board. So as long as he has enough energy in his discard pile, which
he's checking.
He has. Yes, he does. Yes. So he doesn't. So now he just needs to find the Ultra Ball for the Tapu Koko GX, and then he wins the game. Basically, does he already have it? He has it. So Magnus wins the game. He can Ultra Ball now for the Tapu Koko GX, and
yeah. Now all he needs to do is get the energy on the field.
Yeah, and there it is.
That's game. We don't see a handshake. We see a bro fist.
Yeah. So Tapu Thunder GX comes in, does a lot of damage to Reshiram Charizard, knocks it out, which means Magnus takes game 2 and therefore takes the match.
Yeah, and that's actually, it was an incredible series. Quite unfortunate for Andrew losing that game 1 due to a little misplay. Yeah. Let's put it like that.
I mean, we don't know if necessarily how that would have played out, even if he had made that mistake, because of course, I mean, that was series before that was actually really close. It really could have gone either way. It was just that Andrew making that mistake kind of more cemented it for Magnus more than anything else.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, very unfortunate. But yeah, huge congratulations to Magnus. He will, of course, be moving on to top 4.
It's great seeing senior players actually making their way, finding their place in Masters, and continuing to be to get accomplishments. And I'm sure we have time for a quick winners interview with Magnus, so don't go anywhere.
Hello everyone, welcome back. I'm here with our top 8 winner, Magnus Pedersen. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Okay, so, like we've mentioned several times on the stream already, that of course you are the current reigning seniors world champion. So how's it been this first year of Masters for you in general? I mean, obviously you're here in top 8 now, so that's pretty good. But throughout the rest of the year, how's it been for you?
It's been really tough, like the transition, because in seniors it was good to play like something different.
Yeah.
And no one expected it, but you can't do that now. Masters, I've failed a lot of tournaments here in Masters, and it's first like now when I started playing Zapdos, I've started actually winning.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. So we saw that you got 9th in Bristol as well. Was that also playing Zapdos?
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Was that a bubble, by the way, or was
yeah, bubble.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, I know the feeling. I'll say that much.
Yeah.
It's yeah, it was so. Yeah, that match specifically, it seems like obviously it's very hard for most of your deck to KO Reshiram Charizard, so it can be quite tough. But then, of course, you sweep in at the end with the Tapu Koko GX, and all of a sudden it seems very easy. So is that your general game plan? Like take 3 easy prizes, then finish off with the Koko?
Yeah, if I get a tough time and I still can like one-shot one with the Tapu Koko, and then I got the Nihiligo, and the 1 Psychic Energy to try and one-shot another one.
No, that's really good. Then.
Everything else fails.
Yeah. And how do you? Obviously, this is the deck that you've probably done the best with since you started going Masters.
Definitely.
Yeah, and how do you feel about the deck's matchups generally? Like thinking about especially going into top 4 in the finals, is there anything you'd rather face or anything you don't want to face in particular?
Well, I don't want to face against Stall, which Santa is playing, so it's really bad. Otherwise, I feel like the matchups are pretty good for Zapdos, and like it's only like Stall and what's it called, Weezing. That's bad.
Oh yes,
like.
of course.
Yeah.
So Weezing, of course, is we've not really seen many today actually.
No, I haven't seen any. So.
Yeah, they're not in top 8, but yeah, of course, the spread can always be tricky for the early stuff as a low HP. But either way, that doesn't matter. You're here. You're in top 4 at the very least. So again, congratulations.
Thank you.
And you're very welcome. And guys, we're going to take a quick break, but we'll be back very soon with the next top 8 match. So stay tuned.